Welcome in this video. Today I'm going to show you my favorite adjustment layers to color grade inside of Photoshop. So let's jump into Photoshop right now. So I am inside of Photoshop and I need to go to adjustment, and here I have all of my single adjustment that will allow me to color grade this image. And today I'm going to show you my favorite ones. It's a bit hard to choose, but I do have adjustment that I use on pretty much all of my photos. So let's start with curves. So curves is not only inside of Photoshop, it's really a tool that you can find anywhere. If you use Lightroom, you're gonna find them on Lightroom. You're gonna find curve in Lightroom mobile as well, in a lot of other software. But it can be really powerful to color grade and not only to create like S-curves for adding contrast. If you go to different channels, so you can see here we have RGB, so it's going to affect the light of your image. But if you work with different channels like red, green, blue, you can really color grade your image. If you pair that with a mask, then you can really target one area of an image, and just with different curves you could actually color grade a whole image using only one single adjustment layer. So let me show you how it works. You should know that red is the opposite color of cyan. Okay, if you don't know that, I really highly recommend you to learn about color theory. You can learn that inside of my course, The Color Code, or just find information online, but it's really important to understand how colors work to be able to color grade your image. So red is the opposite color of cyan. Green is the opposite color of magenta, and blue is the opposite color of yellow. And once you know that, you can really use the curves in depth to color grade your image. So let's say here we want to add like a blue tones to this image. If I use the left side of my curve, I'm going to affect only the shadows of the image. But if I use the right side of the curve, I am affecting the highlight of the image. So you can see here with the curve, you can really work on colors depending of the light of the image. So that's really interesting. So let's say we want to add some yellow, some blue in the shadows to give this cold atmosphere that I had here in this city that was really cold when I was shooting, and I want the viewer to feel that. So I'm gonna add that mostly in the shadows, and I want to emphasize in the highlight the yellow from all the light that we have in the image. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna take this dot here and put it down. So I'm emphasizing the yellow in the highlight, and you can see this is before and this is after, before and after. Now, you know what, I'm going to create another curve, and this time let's go to the red channel and maybe add some red in the shadows. And I'm going to use the mask, Command I to invert my mask, and this time I'm going to create a selection on my mask. So you're gonna see that I'm going to target one area of my image. So I'm going to brush only my roof, and you can see here I'm emphasizing the red roof of my image by using a mask on my curve. So make sure that your mask is clean. The best way to make a clean mask is to use selection tools. But here I've just been brushing and you can see it's pretty clean if you do it properly. So yeah, if you have a tablet, it's quite easy to make proper selection. But if you don't have a tablet, use selection tools. And so you can see this is before and this is after. before and after, and here just with a curve I've been able to do that. And the good thing, once you did your selection, if you are not happy with how the colors look like, you can always click here on this little arrow. It's going to reset the effect, and you can just redo the effect until you have a result you are happy with. So here I'm thinking maybe orange would look nicer than something really red, and I can also work on light. So if I want to make the roofs maybe a little, look here, I can see that I didn't make my selection really properly. So I'm able to brush again to make it really nice. Perfect. So for the RGB curve, maybe adding a bit of contrast on the roof, and you can see this is before and after. So this is how you can use the curve using all the different channels. Now I want to show you probably one of my favorite, that is color balance. Just a quick interruption to let you know that if you are interested to master color grading as a photographer, I built the color code. That's a color grading method for photographers. So if you feel like going more in depth with color grading, the link is in the description. So here in color balance, and you're gonna see all the adjustment works pretty much the same. Here, as I said before, we have different sliders, red and cyan, because red and cyan are opposite color. Magenta green, because they are opposite color as well, and yellow and blue, because they are opposite color. And this time we can still work on the light as well by choosing shadows, midtone or highlight. So for example, let's choose highlight and work on the beautiful light that we have on this image. So let's say we want to emphasize this orange, the warm light that we have, but more towards yellow. And then if I invert my mask, Command I on the mask, I'm gonna take a brush and just brush the lights. Okay, we have some light here. See how it looks like we are kind of painting light. So here for those little light, I think it's better to do a good detailed job. And this is before and this is after. See how powerful it is? Looks like we turned on the light. So this is just with the curve and color balance before and after. I do find the blue a little strong, so I would actually like to reduce the effect of the blue, and I can reduce the opacity just like this. Then something else I really love, this is Selective Color. So I'm just going to click on it and see how it works. We have different colors, so we can target red, yellow, green, cyan, blue, magenta. And then we have white, neutral and blacks. Okay, so here you are going to work depending of the light of the image. So think about it this way: neutral is like midtones, white is the highlight, and blacks is kind of the shadows of your image, but you can also target specific colors. So let's say we want to target the red, and what you can do is to just move the sliders and see what it affects. So see here, it affects a lot all of this area here, and so you can just choose what you want to do. And then we have the slider black and white that will affect the light of those area, okay, those area of color. And I really like this adjustment layer to work on white, neutral, and blacks, because if you want to add a color in the blacks and do, for example, a split toning. So split toning is when you add a color in the blacks and the opposite color in the whites. So for example, let's say we want to add some blue in the shadows to re-emphasize what we did with the curve. And then I go to white, and I'm gonna add some orange in the orange tones in the whites. Before, after, before and after. And same here, if you were to add the selective color with a mask, you can really target specific areas. And that's really the power of Photoshop, is to use adjustment layers paired with mask. And that way you can go really in depth with color grading. So I would really encourage you to open an image and try out those 3 different adjustment layers to color grade your image, and so you can decide which one you prefer to use for future edits. So that's it for this video. I hope you learned a few things here. If you want to go more in depth with color grading, check the link in the description for the color code, my color grading course for photographers. And if you like this video, please push the like button and subscribe. It always helps me to keep creating free content here on YouTube.